the I today of creation. And we've talked about C, which is choice. I have to choose health and well-being. We talked about R, the rest part, and we said, gosh, sleep is critical, but there are so many other kinds of rest. And we talked about how sleep is number one, but we also we need periods, and this isn't in your material probably, or is it? Did I put it there? Oh, okay. But we also need periods of mindfulness, periods of meditation, periods of aloneness. We need staycations, we need vacations, we need Sabbath days. We need all different forms of resting the senses, resting my body, resting my mind. So we also said that we need to rest from stress, right? So there's eustress, E-U-S-T-R-E-S-S, which is a good stress. This is the kind we need to perform. But we don't need the other kind of distress. This is the kind that builds up and the body keeps the score, and then our immune system weakens, and we get sick and stay sick and don't recover from the sick. C-R-E, environment. We talked about how the environment's so critical. We're sensory. There's sensory all out here, and we need to connect with this. We need to build an environment in our world that is appealing to us, that is helpful to us. Have you ever been a place, you traveled somewhere, and you no, this is not my jam. If I were here, living here, I would be depressed. I don't feel I fit. Nothing out here seems to jive with my makeup. And then you're somewhere else, and it's, oh yeah, I could live here. I could stay here. I did not want to come back on Monday, I gotta tell you, from the beach, right? Because there's something so rhythmic about the beach. There's something so amazing that hits all the senses. For most people, not everybody. But environment. So how do I create my home, an environment that's appealing to me, that appeases my senses? Sight, sound, taste, touch, and what's the other one? What am I missing? Smell? A, activity, right? That movement is medicine. Any kind of movement, but we need to keep moving. And again, when we look at the research from the blue zones, they found 4 factors as the reasoning for people living into their hundreds. 80-20, plant-based diet. Right? 80% of the time I'm on point. 20% of the time, no. Right? And that's kind of a healthy way to live, and predominantly plant-based. Movement. They continue to move. They continue to walk. 3, spiritual engagement. Connection this way, and we talked about this last time. And then when we're talking about today, connection this way. Social connection. Interaction, being known, being seen. We matter. It matters that we show up. Why did I start this thing 7 or 8 years ago, whenever it was? Because I noticed that with the people who were suffering in domestic violence situations, they needed to connect with other people to know it wasn't just them. My story isn't unique to me. I'm not alone. Oh, you too? Like C.S. Lewis said, you too? I thought it was just me. And there's a connection that gets formed. We need to know, we need those kinds of connections. And I knew that same kind of connection that they needed for that reason was the kind of connection that we need. Right? We don't deal well in isolation. We don't deal well disaffiliated or disconnected. The brain doesn't function. Neural connections do not get made, and we do not have synaptic neural activation and growth. And there's a diminishment here. And there's a diminishment here, right? But we don't need fake interactions. So I work hard to make sure you feel safe here, you feel seen here, you feel you matter, right? So I reach out to you. I do the same with my clients. No, I don't want an AI assistant to reach out and confirm appointments. I want to say, how did your medical appointment go? How's your mom? Is she still in the hospital? I'll see you Thursday. And I retain people that way. Not that I'm intending to retain them, but they feel seen. I hope. That's my goal. And the same here. So yeah. This is important to me as well, because not everyone will make it to a counseling office. Not everyone will speak out about what they're dealing with or ask their question in a public forum or at a seminar or whatever. But they might in the safety of a podcast. So that's that. So CREATI, we're on I. So we're talking about interpersonal. So what I'd like you to do is we're preparing to talk about why this connection piece is so important. Is I would like you to take the next few minutes, and I'll turn my stuff back on here. I would like you to find 3 people, 3 different people, and I would like you to find out something you have in common with each one of those 3. And then come back to your location. Relocate yourself. That's so hard in the beginning.
Like, where do you start?
Where do you start?
Where do you dig in?
Where do you dig in? Where do you start?
Directions.
Oh, my directions were not clear.
No.
I'm just saying.
They could have been clearer.
I had to clarify with you, but I got clarified, so that was good.
There is some ADHD involved. What it probably be.
No.
Okay, did anybody else have an issue trying to understand that we were?
Yeah, was I unclear? I didn't tell you to stand up, did I? I did not, that's true. And I also did maybe not tell you 3 separate people, one thing each. Did I say that?
You didn't say one thing. You said 3 separate
You
people,
did
but
say
not
you
one
said it
thing.
at the end, not right at the beginning.
You're good. All
Okay,
good.
so my bad.
Okay.
And I didn't know, is it 3 things from 3 people, or was it 3 people?
Yeah.
I did
I
3 people.
understood
You
that
gotta
you wanted
breathe
us
and
to
maybe
move around,
breathe.
but it probably didn't flow out that way.
It probably, it didn't flow out that way.
Good, Marla.
All right. Tell me what you noticed. What was your experience like in doing this after you finally figured out what you were supposed to do?
We just got straight into the point, like, okay, rattle off a few different things to try to find some sort
something.
of common ground.
Okay. Did any of, do you know one another's names?
Yes.
Most of you do, but some of you don't?
Right.
Did you ask the
Yes.
person their name?
Yes.
Good. Because that's a way of also connecting with someone, right? Our names matter. You know that in the Aborigine culture, they change their names multiple times in life to fit who they are at any given moment. Yeah, I love that. I'm changing mine. Confused Direction is my new name. Okay. I heard several of you say, "How are you?" instead of just getting to the point. Do you think the "how are you" and the just getting to the point is a little bit of personality? Do you think the getting up and moving around is a little bit about introversion and extroversion? So we have to allow for personality differences, right? Also, I saw a lot of meta communication. Some of you went right in, hey, right? And you were at a posture of openness and closer. You were closer. Could be that you're German, so you didn't. It could be that you're Latino, so you did. Right? So again, personality. But yeah, did you notice anything else? I was trying to listen to you and just sort of notice things. Did you notice anything else?
It's harder. It's easier to have something in common with someone closer to your age than it is for a young person.
Okay, Sandy's saying it might be easier to have something in common when someone is close to your age. Do you find that to be the case?
I think you have to do more discovery.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily, because we may both ride motorcycles, or we may both have our favorite color be blue, and that has nothing to do with our age. But we may have some commonalities. We certainly do in our age pockets, right? Our decades of age. But I don't know that that precludes the commonalities. Okay, anything else you noticed as you were doing this? Did you feel more comfortable as you went along? Okay.
Yes.
Lee?
I just kind of came up, because the person that I did it now, so I just kind of came up with the topic so that we would have a place to start. Like, do you have animals, or do you have children, or do you know, so it would give us a lane to go in.
Okay.
And I think is it Ava? Yes. Yeah. she has a bearded dragon, and I used to have a bearded dragon. So like you wouldn't even, you think dog cats, but we had a great time talking, but then it was like we had to go. So.
Okay, so and this is something we do too. We try to find a commonality, right? When we're meeting people. Where do you work? Where do you live? Oh, really? You're from there? Do you do that? You do this for work? And you moved here not so long ago. You're from California. All those kinds of things. We try to find those, and so that's going to be a productive way of getting the answers that I'm looking for. All right, I want to hear the things. So let's go ahead and start. Marla, tell me what you got.
Deborah and I are both raising a child around Sydney's 12 and her grandson is 13 years old. So, and I'm sorry,
Oh, it's okay.
No, I know.
Oh, sorry.
Brenda, I don't know why I forgot your name, Brenda. We've been coming together for years. We both sew. And so we do different types of sewing, but we both sew. And then Penny and I both ride motorcycles.
Okay. Did you know any of those things before?
No.
Okay.
Well, I heard a little while back that, hey, you need to talk to her because she has an interest in motorcycles, but you don't really know
I didn't know that.
what that interest is. Somebody had pointed to you.
Okay.
But until you said it, I didn't remember because that's where I'm at. So.
Good. Excellent. All right, Deborah.
Marla told you what we have in common. Missy and I have both retired husbands.
What?
No.
Is that a topic?
Yeah. We're married to bearded dragons.
Yeah. What was the third one?
And Lindsay and I used to be teachers.
Okay.
Used to be a teacher?
I did.
I missed that.
I know. Surprise, surprise.
No.
And I didn't know that.
I would be.
How did I miss that?
I can see that.
Everything.
Oh yeah, perfect. All right, Lindsay.
Eva and I used to play, we picked a sport, we're like, what can we have in common? And soccer, we both played soccer when we were younger. And Brenda and I both are married. That's what we got in common. And then we're teachers.
Okay, good job. Ava, what you got?
As Lindsay said, we both played soccer when we were younger. And as she says, we both had bearded dragons. And I'm so sorry, I forgot your name. Sandy and me both like the color blue.
Oh, so I did see, I brought that up. All right, good. So you wouldn't have known. Bearded dragon, not a common.
Yeah, no, I thought it was just gonna be a miss. I'm like, I have a bearded dragon. She's like, I do too. I'm like, wow.
So I take a risk sometimes, right? Do we have this in common? I'm just throwing something out. Yeah. Dottie.
Okay, so Alicia and I both have daughters who are 35 years old and single.
Hey. Me too.
And Sandy and I were both born in Nashville.
That's
Which
neato.
is, yeah, there's hardly anybody that is, but, and then Libby and I love the beach and the ocean. Love the ocean.
Okay. Even though you're born in Nashville.
Yep.
Okay. I remember when I moved here and I said, how far is it to the beach? And someone said, it's so close. It's 8 hours. Although getting to Newport, as we know,
It was
could
like
take 8 hours apart.
That's true. It would be like 8 minutes to the beach.
Yeah, that's my deal now in Florida. 8 minutes. Coco.
So I didn't follow directions, so we did 2 people.
You're up.
We had 2 people, so
No shade.
That's 2/3 Joe Bradford.
yeah. I because she's told me her name once, but I'm so bad. I'm so not there. But we both have dogs, and
Big dogs.
yeah, she has a big dog. I have a little dog. And then Penny and I are both married, and we have dogs.
So not only did you only do 2, you kind of cheated. Not to shame you, but that would be on a podcast.
INFJ. Big one.
INFJ.
It'll take a long time to crack this nut.
No, it's been crap.
Lucia, what do you got? That doesn't count.
Let's see.
Dottie and I have 35-year-old daughters who are single,
Yep.
who want to have a family. Let's see. Coco and I, we both have dogs, even though they're different sizes.
Yes.
And we're married, even though we didn't say that. And I have lost my mind.
It's messy, but that's
I
good.
know that, and so my mind is just.
I know you're thinking about our conversation.
Like, dang. Yes, ma'am. And then.
You and Missy?
We talked about it quite a bit.
What a
So,
job. Just your second.
We're married to people who are lovingly taken care of.
Okay. Okay. Got you. All right, Missy, take it away.
So I'll qualify that one step further. Both of our husbands are in their 80s. So just make that assumption, whatever that is.
Yeah.
And they're retired.
I had a birthday yesterday, 86.
Oh, so mine's a couple years younger, 83.
And yours got another one.
Yep. Andy and I talked about that we have grandkids. And then we talked about a couple other things about government. Well, yeah, I was just trying to figure out, I wanted to know more about her. Because it's so funny, because I know a lot about a lot of people, but I didn't know a lot about Sandy.
Sandy keeps it close to the.
You do. I know, I need to excavate more. I definitely do. I need to be an excavator. Who else did I talk? Oh, Deborah. Deborah and I, we just had coffee the other day, so we excavated quite a bit. A lot. And yeah, we both discussed what it's like to be the wife of a newly retired husband that's older.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't know what you don't know.
I just needed to take a big breath on that.
We all agree that you're marrying younger the next time.
Well, I didn't even, Missy and I know, but she and I both were in medical sales for most of our careers.
Okay.
Before life radically changed. Coco and I have the dog and Mary, and we ride the motorcycles.
The motorcycle
Yeah.
girls. Yeah.
Got her going to Sturgis, so.
Really?
Yeah, she says she's gonna go this year.
Oh, really? You really probably don't want to go.
Why?
I guess, I'm a prude. All the nudity just is, I'm sorry, too much for me.
Well,
So
it wasn't crazy last year.
It wasn't? Yeah, it's fun. Sturgis.
All right.
Woodstock, man.
It is.
Where's Marla?
I will be your new motorcycle.
Marla and Penny, I want to introduce you to this man combining both of your likes. I met this man in Phoenix when I was in the driverless car.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey! Not only is no one driving my car, but you're hot with the dog.
I love it.
Are you straight saver now, Pam?
Oh, yeah.
Are you manifesting that?
And now she has a picture by her bed.
That's her vision board.
I also highly encourage.
He's on your vision
You got
board.
that on your vision board now.
Yeah.
He did, of course. I also highly encourage you visiting the National Ice Cream Museum of Miami.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
There's a lot of fake bananas hanging. That wasn't tied in with the other comment at all. But
You were there and took a
Sure,
few.
subconscious. That's subconscious.
Ryan was on the ice cream
That's
news.
subconsciously.
What? Why was he on the ice cream?
It's just what, you know.
Oh, that's so cute.
Very cute, very
It's on
cute.
overdrive, yes.
Yes. And Miami is a thing. All to itself. You have to speak Cuban.
Is that where your place is?
I mean, hour north.
That's where you
Oh, you're
fly
not-
into.
okay. Okay.
All right, Miss Libby, your turn. Did you go already?
Oh, I'm easy. Okay, Brenda and
I'm
I
easy.
both have 2 boys. Ava and I had a bearded dragon. She has one right now. And Dottie and I love the ocean, the beach, anything that has to do with ocean stuff.
Good
She's
job.
a native and I'm not.
No, you're not. You're the other direction.
I'm the other way.
Brenda.
Well, Libby just said, her and I both have 2 sons. And Marla and ISO. And I'm sorry, I forgot. Lindsay. I already forgot.
We're married. We have husbands.
We're both married.
I already
We've had a
forgot.
couple.
God, I want it for you. All right, Sandy.
Well, all of mine have already been said.
I
so
know,
This
but-
is like kind of like a memory thing. Do I remember?
Yes.
Let's see if
That's good, Sandy.
you still remember. Mitzi and I both have kids, grandkids. And then Ada and I, who I thought was really hard to find something in common, our favorite color is blue. And then Dottie and I were raised in Asheville.
Good job. Good memory.
Raised in Asheville.
0 cognitive decline there. All right. You guys did great.
Good job.
Yes. All right, and we've got some great raffle prizes today. Missy, do you want to tell us what's in here, or is it a surprise?
It's kind of a surprise
Okay.
that I wrapped it. I hope that whoever gets it, I left a little card that you feel very loved and very seen.
Oh, and then she's got a little
I put Savior on there because
redeemer.
if you're not a believer, it's okay. But if you are, our Redeemer is the resurrection is a big deal at Easter for those that are Christian.
Oh, this is
If
so
you're not, you
beautiful.
can just go give it to somebody that might be.
And Jesus, by the way, gives a mean impression of Bob Dylan.
Jesus does?
You know, Jonathan Romy.
Oh.
Yeah. You know
Okay,
what?
can I make a quick announcement?
Yes.
Is she gonna stop you? No. Shroud of Turin. I don't know if you guys know what it is, but it is a assumed shroud of Jesus. Well, the guy that has spent 25 years working on it, and it's a 2,000-year-old, he has all the science behind it. They actually have an exhibit, and it's one of the churches here in Spring Hill at Conduit Church, and it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And there hasn't been a lot of, I don't go to church there, but it hasn't been a lot of, but it's major. They have a bronze statue of what Jesus looked like in rigor mortis. They have over 700 wounds on his body they verified. It is a fascinating.
So how do they find out about it,
exhibit.
Missy?
Just go to Conduit Church, and it's 5 to 7 on tonight, Friday, Saturday, and then I think they're doing something, Conduit churches in Spring Hill. It's free to go.
Yeah, Thompson Station,
It's
so
not-
it's
yeah.
really, yeah.
Yeah, it's right. I mean, it's like right off the freeway.
So Conduit Church, and you said today, tomorrow, next day. Okay, and you
it's
can
free.
get more information on there. if you're interested.
Yes, it's on Lewisville Pike.
All right.
It's north of 84, or 840.
840.
All right, we'll just look it up. Yeah, and The Chosen is coming to theaters for season 4.
Yes.
He announced that right before he performed a Bob Dylan song. I'm just saying, very versatile, like Jesus. Okay.
He's pretty.
All right, let's go. We're ready. Relationships are essential. Just sum up the whole concept here of interpersonal relationships. Again, we do not function without connection. Not neurologically, not emotionally, not in any way, shape, or form. We want to be known, we want to be seen, and we want to know we matter. Tons and tons of research on feeling invisible, not being understood, not being touched, and how it has led to sickness, isolation, and an inability to fully develop into the person we were designed to be. So social isolation leads to a loss of neural activity, and as I said, we don't snag. We don't have synaptic neural activation and growth when we're disconnected or disaffiliated. And we need this to be authentic connection, right? So inauthentic connection, difficult environments where we're not understood, where we're not seen, where we're being abused, these are actually working contrary to the way we need to work, and these are also toxic. So we need authentic, healthy relationships. Authentic, healthy relationships. I like this quote from the author of Love and Survival. He says, "I'm not aware of any other factor in medicine that has a greater impact on our quality of life, incidence of illness, and premature death than lack of love and intimacy. Loneliness and isolation predispose us to engage in harmful behaviors in attempt to get connection, lead to disease, and prevent us from fully experiencing life, fully experiencing us, fully showing up. Love, intimacy, connection, and community heal us. They heal us." Again, think back on all of the research that we see for societies living, pretty much the entire society living into its hundreds, and those 4 factors are present. Social connection, spiritual connection, 80-20 rule, and movement. I mean, it all can break down into those 4 things, really. Loneliness is at epidemic proportions. When we look at the stats from Psychology Today and other resources that we look at a lot as psychology people, the numbers for loneliness and for suicide and for anxiety and depression are higher than they've been.
Social media.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
It's one of the reasons. It's one of the reasons.
Well, I was going to comment on social media because I can definitely see how that plays in. But at the same time, on the flip side, social media has been good for me because, first of all, I'm not obsessive about it. But I have relatives and friends in other parts of the country, so it helps me to kind of stay connected.
But that's the caveat,
to them.
Libby, that's the caveat. I'm not obsessive about it, and I use it for connection
Right.
with people who I would not be able to connect with because
Right.
they're not here.
Right.
I have clients from Jordan, from Mexico, from all places. Yeah, there's no way they can stay in touch with their people without social media.
Right.
So, and they use it, most of them, wisely. But we're talking about a use of social media for comparison, as a substitute for connection, and just in an obsessive fashion, because it is addictive. It's in the DSM now. This was never part of the DSM diagnostic manual. It is now, and there's a cutoff point of X number of hours a day, and you have an addiction.
It's scary for my kids. My daughter's 13. Her dad let her have the social media stuff. She has 46,000 followers.
Holy cow.
And to start that competition so young, and to believe that that's the way I matter, or I feel like I exist,
Well, that's what I worry
validate.
about with likes. Like, you counting your likes, but
Yeah.
she kind of uses it because her dad's all into the social media stuff. So she kind of counts it like it's a little job kind of for her. But I was just telling my sister, I'm worried because I don't want that to be her self-esteem.
Right.
Because if that's gone, so I've taken her phone away for weeks just because of grades or whatever. And her dad's like, give it back to her. I'm like, no, she needs to be responsible for herself. I can take the phone away, can't take her social media off, but because of him. But at least I can give it to her. She has a life without it.
Right.
But it's still really scary because I don't know who 46,000 people are.
Well, and it's important to have a life without it.
Yeah.
That's really important to have a life without it. And you, Lindsay, you're a great mom, right? So you're supplementing her sense of who she is, or providing the predominant sense of who she is at home.
Yeah.
But some kids don't have that. So their only definition of who they are is the responses they get, the likes they get, all of that. And that's when, this is not a healthy thing. And your point is well taken, Libby, because, listen, we're grateful for it. We're thankful that we have those kinds of avenues and those platforms that we can connect with one another on. It's just how are we connecting and what are we connecting for? But predominantly the research shows that when it's used in excess, it actually disconnects. I feel more disconnected than connected when I am defining myself on social media. Those missed out opportunities, the comparisons, and it's again, I can take a snapshot of myself looking super happy because I'm having a meal, but I could just have gotten in a fight with people I'm with, or whatever. I could be miserable, but I'm smiling. So it's a snapshot of non-reality many times.
I noticed too with like how many people have filters.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, No, like, I don't even know how to
What do
use
you really
them.
look like? Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't want to. It's
Okay.
sad to me.
Okay, if I'm honest, if I had it, I'd use it more. I'm just kidding. All right, again, we want to be transparent and we want to be honest. We want to be in places where we can be real. The reason that I started Total Transformation at my church is because I recognized that people weren't being real at church. This has historically been a problem, that people show up one way on Sunday and hide everything that's really going on. I can't say that, I can't tell that, can't let them know that. I'll be judged, I'll feel good and left out, I'll be put on a prayer list, and whatever will happen. And so I said, no, this has to change. And so I'm going to start it by being real up front and hoping that others out there can do the same, so that we're connecting with real information. No, not the filter, not the visual filter, not the emotional filter. Now, I'm not saying we don't need to vet first, right, before we are open. Is it a safe place to be open? But we need safe places. I think I told you guys last time about the story of this hugging saint, this hugging nun. Did I?
Yeah.
So if you missed that, just look this woman up. That's what she's known as, and she has hugged hundreds of thousands, maybe at this point millions of people. She said years and years ago, so I'm not that smart, I don't have any money, I can't help in those kinds of ways, but dang, I can give a hug. And so she just began to hug people. And we know that the healing power of a full 5-breath hug is enormous. Now, I don't know if she hugs that long, but I suspect that this woman has got the real hug going on. And people feel seen, and people get better. So, we want to be polite about hugging. We don't want to go on in there with somebody who's been abused and give them a big old hug. But usually we can. Sometimes we want to ask permission. So the hugging saint, look her up. Quality over quantity. Quality over quantity. If we're going to fully be known and we're going to fully know others, that can't happen with 30 people. That can happen with a few people. So I had a really difficult thing I had to do. I had to be around my son's partner, who had just had a complete meltdown, dysregulated emotional thing, said some really mean, ugly, hurtful things, and my son needed my support. And I knew I was going to be around her at the same time. So I said, well, how do I take care of my son and take care of me at the same time? Well, I'm going to go, but I called my 2 besties. And I said, guys, I'm coming to San Diego Friday. They're like, what? And then they said, what do you need? I'll pick you up from the airport. I'm packing a bag now. And I went into this hard situation flanked by people who know me and know me well and who just will show up no matter what. And we need those kinds of relationships. We need to be deep, not necessarily wide. And, physically as well. Estelle Ramey says, I have loved and I have been loved, and all the rest is background noise. I love that. So healing and reconciliation in relationships is critical. When we're living in bitterness, when we're living in resentment, when we're living in anger, this is toxic for us. It may not be toxic to the other person. They may be on vacation and doing just fine. But we want to try to resolve that. Now, can we reconcile all relationships? No. We can only do what's up to us. We can only do our part. And sometimes we have to stop at that point where we say, I've tried, I've done, I've run out of options, and so I have to let that go and leave that in God's hands. And maybe it'll get reconciled later. Maybe now isn't the time. Maybe it needs some space. Again, we can only do what we can do. Does that make sense? Yeah, we know this to be the case, right? So if I used to keep going, I'm not giving up until this gets fixed. And sometimes I found out it wasn't fixable sometimes because the other person wasn't able or ready or willing. All right, so 10 laws of boundaries in relationships. These are important too. Sowing and reaping, actions have consequences, and we need to know what is our right and what is our responsibility in another relationship. It is not helpful to another person to bail them out of their own stuff. Never do for someone else what they can do for themselves. People do not grow, they do not become empowered, and they get thwarted developmentally when they don't learn how to solve their own problems. So as young as we can with our kids, that's your issue. I'm not gonna go at 11 o'clock at night to try to find someplace open to get all your stuff for the project due tomorrow that you found out about 3 months ago. You're gonna have to take a hit on that one at school, right? And I might need to have some collusion with a teacher or a principal or whatever to help them. It's always about helping them. It's not about me being mean or me being in charge and having control. It's about helping someone else live well when I'm not here. With clients, I'm not going to work harder than them. No. I'll work as hard as I can, and then they need to do their work. I can't bail my son out of his relationship. It's his job to do what he chooses to do. And I had to go back to Al-Anon principles, right? I can't cure it, I can't control it, I didn't cause it, but I can practice self-care and I can contribute positively or negatively to the situation and to my own well-being. We're responsible to one another, not for one another. Responsible to, not for. I don't have any power over other people's choices. Now, with kids, I can certainly maneuver things, right? And that's a little bit of a power play. And again, it's always about helping them, not about being a despot or a dictator. I got to respect other people's boundaries, and I'm going to ask other people to respect mine. Will they always? Not always. What do I do when they don't? What do I do when I have made my boundary clear and this particular person is not compliant with my ask?
Distance yourself.
Say it again, Ava.
Distance yourself.
I might need to distance myself.
Let them know.
I might need to let them know. I've made this clear. We've talked about this. No can do. And so I may give them another option, another chance, another try. Marla?
No, it was along the lines of
The same.
firm in your boundaries.
Yeah. I have to take care of me. So when this thing started happening with my son and he's telling me all the stories and I'm giving him resources, and this is the 4th time we've gone around this loop, I now am noticing I'm not doing well because I'm ruminating about that. And I have a lot of other people in my life that I want to be involved with. So that can be a litmus test for you. If you notice, gosh, this is all I'm thinking about. This is all I can think about. This is all, I gotta fix it. What are they doing right now? You are in their lane. Motivation needs to come from inside. I just read an article that said victimization is an external issue. Victimhood is an internal issue. I don't ever need to stay a victim. I need to acknowledge my hurt and the pain, but not to stay there, to work through it, to have my story that's part of my story, but it's not my whole story. Victimization, external. Victimhood, internal work. Will some people decide to stay victim? Yeah. Why? Why do they do that?
Probably it's their identity.
This is all I know. What if I give this up? Then what? What did you say, Libby?
What did I say? It's what they know. It's common.
This is familiar to me.
And they're comfortable in
This is
that
comfortable.
story
And change is
because
hard.
they said
And change is hard. And change is work.
But
Could be a
dun
tension
dun
issue.
dun, the word impossible. What does that spell? IMPOSSIBLE. And you cut that sucker in two, and you've got impossible.
Okay.
Change is possible, despite the duty wooties of our stubborn
Thank you.
headedness.
Wow.
Thank you.
Good job, Alicia. You're fired up in the heat driving a truck.
I don't know, you can't wear that hot pink anymore.
She drove up in a big old duty
Fiery.
truck. Vroom, vroom,
I reached out to a therapist for my son. This is big on my heart, as you can tell. I reached out for a therapist friend for my son, and she called me back on Tuesday. And she said, you do know you're meddling. You do know that when the son calls for the person who needs the therapy, that's a red flag. You do know that when the request for the therapist profile is that she's deaf, speaks Spanish, and lives in your same town and takes Aetna insurance, that's another red flag. You do know that when your son finds that and she still doesn't go, it's a third red flag.
Yes.
I'm not going to see him. She's not ready, and he's enabling. And I said, thank you for the reminders. Oh, ye of 24 years of age with
Do
wisdom.
you share that with your clients, that same, yeah, that's powerful.
Can't make somebody go. Can't make somebody get out of victim. Can't make somebody before they're ready. And sometimes we think they're ready and they're not ready.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm not ready.
Yeah.
Evaluate the effects, boundaries, cause others pain. Pain can lead to growth. Growth is pain. From growing pains onward, we experience pain when we grow. But will we trade the growth?
No.
I remember being in China and I was working with people with brittle bone disease and they don't grow. They all wanted to grow. Proactivity, solving problems based on values, needs, and wants. Envy, jealousy keeps us empty and unfulfilled, and it's one of the 10 Commandments, isn't it?
10 deadly sins.
And that.
Actually, jealousy and envy have the same thing.
No, they're not. They're not. Activity, I'm going to take the initiative to solve problems, and when I do that, all I need to do is take that first step. It's just always one step at a time, and then another step at a time. The wedding that I just attended for my son's best friend, the friend is sober for 8 years, Ryan's sober for 4, and so half the congregation, what's it called, half the guests were 12-step tradition people. And I heard many in their speech say, I took that first step and that was 12 years ago. I took that first step and that was 14 years ago, and I'm still stepping one day at a time. That's true for all of us, whatever our thing is, right? Because we all have things. And then exposure, boundaries need to be communicated. Otherwise, say, nobody knows if I didn't say, if I didn't tell them. All right, interpersonal relationship success. I'm gonna spend time with family, if my family's healthy. I had a client tell me yesterday, you know what I'm realizing? My friends are my family, because my family's not healthy. I said, dang, girl, and you're 16. That's incredible.
Yeah.
I said, can I have an appointment with you, actually? Because she's so wise at 16. Who felt, I was pretty wise at 16. Talk to me.
Who was wise?
Yes, you were. You were guiding.
I'm alive.
Okay, I was not at all. Oh, really? You can inject vodka into an orange and still cheer? Come on.
Or you can drink to be unconsciously and you still live.
Friends, we need to nurture quality friendships. We've been talking about that. Dedicating time for real conversation and connection. I can't tell you how many people say, what do you do for yourself? You need to do something for yourself. Let me tell you what I do for myself. I dedicate time for real conversation and connection with my friends. That's my biggest source of support, and mani-pedis and massages and travel. By the way, We're not meeting in April.
Where are you going?
Camino.
I'm going to Portugal to walk the Camino de Compostela.
Oh, okay.
And I'm very excited. And one of the people walking with me is my friend who said, can I pick you up from the airport? Because that's the kind of person I want to walk a lot of miles with.
Yeah.
So May 8th is our next time.
Wonderful.
May 8th is our next time. Yes, and she speaks Portuguese too, so that'll be helpful. All right, listen, what about pets? A lot of you have the pets going on. Who has pets? Yes. All right, listen, they reduce stress. They relieve pain and loneliness. Man, when I'm in Florida, I'm like, where's Lola? I need Lola. I pretend I'm petting her, but it's Dawn's hairy arm.
There's so many places you could go with that. I know what my next gift for you is.
Oh my God. No, but listen, we know this. ESA animals,
They're that therapeutic.
they're so therapeutic. Babies and the animals, right? With older people. I was just around a woman at church in Florida, and she goes, tengo 98 años. I'm 98 years old. And I brought the baby over, Elijah. And she thought it was her grandson. I just let her. But I didn't let her hold him too long. Her wheelchair, she would have been rolling around there. But no, she went from that to, she was so happy.
Yeah,
That's on the list.
When I moved from California to Tennessee, I had my husband, but I told him, I said, I need an animal. Because my other dog I left with my son because they were symbiotic and they would have both had an issue if they separated the two of them. So I got another rescue dog and I brought him because I thought, I have to have a dog. I'm going to take this. I remember my husband says, well, that's not the dog we're taking to Tennessee. And I said, well, then I'm not going because I'm taking my dog.
You're not going.
And, you stay. Yeah, I'll send you.
That's kind of no-brainer.
Yeah.
I have a client who recently lost her spouse, and she said, my dog is the reason I get up in the morning right now. Because he needs to eat, and he needs a walk, and I need to clean up poop, and all the other things. And so, clients that don't have animals, I often will tell them, I'm just encouraging you, just start with a hamster. I don't know if you're worried about somebody being out and about, or get a cat. They're pretty easy if you're not allergic. And some people are like, I don't care if I'm allergic, I love them. Like my daughter has 4. She sneezes half the day. Okay, neighbors. Again, if they're friendly, if they're nice. Like if you have good neighbors, awesome. Some people don't. Groups where you can get involved, where you can use your skills, where you can develop relationships, connections, friendships. Again, using your flow. What am I good at? Some of my clients are retiring now, and they're talking about that's scary for me. And I said, well, okay, if you don't want to work, then you want to volunteer. You want to do something with somebody or for something. Yeah, so then we sort through what can that look like. It's a little bit more of a life coaching job there at that moment, but
Purpose.
Purpose. We always have to have the purpose. And then work. Listen, we spend a lot of hours at work, right, Marla? So we got to build relationships there if we can. Again, sometimes work environments are toxic, and that's not where we're going to build our friendships. But other times, it's a great place to have connections. We might need to be careful of those dual relationships, but again, we spend a lot of hours there. All right, just quickly, I want to remind you about attachment theory. We've talked about this a lot over the years in here, but our stability, our ability to connect in healthy ways with adults has to do with our healthy attachment, our secure attachment from a long time ago. And if that didn't happen, then we need to have an attachment repair work done, right? Because we will develop an insecure attachment style, which will make us avoidant, ambivalent, are just completely mixed up. And we'll send out messages that are sort of push-pull, pull someone in, then push them away, and it's confusing for people who are securely attached. They don't understand what you're doing, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. I'm not liked, and then you're doing this stuff, and then it doesn't work. So secure attachment, and again, what we need for secure attachment is that healthy base, secure, it's a safe base, and there's proximity maintenance. So those are the pillars that John Bowlby identified for secure attachment to happen. So caregivers consistently available, they were responsive, not perfect, but responsive. And the child felt safe, they could explore, they weren't shamed, and that confidence is taken on as an introject into the child from the caregiver into their other relationships. Those of us who did not get that had to repair that. We had to fix that hurt and get those healthy attachment needs met through other relationships later on so that we could be available in the relationships we're in now. Two people in a relationship with unhealthy attachment, what happens?
Destructive.
Super destructive. I need you to meet my needs. You need your needs met. I need my needs met. Neither one of us can meet the needs. And so it becomes, again, a self-fulfilling prophecy. And it implodes. So people need to get they need to work on themselves. We need to come in healthy to a relationship. Healthy, healthy, healthy. Unhealthy, unhealthy. All right, so people with secure attachment are comfortable with intimacy. They're more trusting, open, understanding, solution focused. They're better with boundaries. And then again, insecure attachment, these people crave intimacy, but they need constant reinforcement, constant reassurance. They can become self-reliant because I can't count on anybody. And so they push away, they might show negative feelings or hostility toward their partners, or have this, as I said, push-pull pattern. I want closeness, but no. And so what it'll feel like is, I hate you, don't leave me. And in an extreme form, it's a personality disorder if it doesn't get repaired. So attachment is so important. I have a couple of reads for you down there. The Boundaries book, all of the Boundaries books by Cloud and Townsend, and then the Attachment book by Clinton and Sipsey is excellent Christian read on attachment. Lots of other attachment books out there, but this is a Christian version if you want that. All right. Good.